Good morning, everybody. Good morning, my fellow. Good morning, viewers. My name is Queen Amelia Donatus from Nigeria, and today I bring you good tidings from myself and my family. And today I want to appreciate you all for being so consistent and uh, being so consistent and being so supportive. So today we're going to have a very incredible time to have a conversation. Right. So now the conversation is very, very important. So I'll be taking us on cultural diplomacy. You know, when we talk about cultural diplomacy, there are factors that makes up that. A lot of people wants to really understand cultural diplomacy. Some of us has lost our identity, our pride. We have lost our identity, our origin. We have lost our identity, our existence. We do not even have an identity. We don't even know our ancestral roots. Sometimes we don't even know why we wear our sometimes we don't even know why we wear our native attires. Do you actually ask yourself, why do you wear your native attires? What is the symbol of wearing your native attires? They are very, very important for you to understand why. The why is very important. Why do you wear your native attires? They have a representation. See, they are very, very connected to our ancestral roots. That is not just an attire. It's a connectivity to your ancestral root. Yeah. So right away, we will communicate together. Wherever you are hearing the sound of my voice, I want you to actually I want you to actually like, comment, like, comment, and share. Subscribe to my YouTube channels, like, comment, and share. So while we continue today, I'm taking you through a restorative lesson today. So while we begin, as we have always learned, I'm going to pray. Holy Spirit, guide us through as we learn. As a broker's journalist, I have had lots of experience at the course of my job delivery, and I have the experience to share with you all. If you can hear me, you can see me. Comment, like, and comment on the comment section. Subscribe to my YouTube channels and let's have a conversation. So, we're talking about cultural diplomacy. Yeah. Cultural diplomacy is very, very important thing to talk about. Basically for people who come from um Africa as a whole, not just Africa, everywhere. So first of all, cultural diplomacy is a diplomatic strategy and practice that focuses on promoting and understanding different cultures and countries. Oftentimes we see ourselves getting married from one country to another. You see yourself, you're a Nigerian, getting married to someone from Ghana. You see yourself, you're a Nigerian, getting married to someone in another country. So when we have this conversation about cultural diplomacy, it gives you the foresight to actually understand the representations of what it means. Latif Zoko, I'm an India Red Indian. Okay, good. Welcome. Good to have you here, Latif. So while I proceed onto this, don't forget to subscribe to my channels, like and comment. It's very important for you to do that. Then don't forget to turn off the bell notifications to be notified when next I come live. So when we talk about cultural diplomacy being a diplomatic strategy, right? Does past matters in a relationship? Yes, of course, sometimes it does. It does, yeah, it does. It plays a huge role. The past matters in a relationship because while I said it matters, right? The past shapes your today and tomorrow. What lesson did you learn in your past? Did you learn a good lesson? If your experience in your past is horrible, if you don't go through therapy, it could affect your today and your tomorrow. So the past is important, but in as much as it's not, you shouldn't make it your ideal. You shouldn't make it the ideal of the day. But there are lessons that you need to learn there. So you focus on learn the lesson and move on. You don't have to dwell in your past. You don't have to keep reading the last verse of your past. Very important. So if you have to move forward, evaluate your past. What experience did you learn from there? Gather the experience, unlearn the bad things that came from the past, relearn the new things that will help you in your today and in your future. Yeah. So moving forward, we're talking about cultural diplomacy. I said it's a diplomatic strategy and practice that focuses on promoting understanding, cooperation, and goodwill between different cultures and countries through the exchange of cultural elements such as art, music, language, literature, and education, and also cultural heritage. So, when we talk about cultural heritage, you hear the art of sound, symbols, language, literature, education, our cultural heritage. They depict our individuality, right? So now, when you hear embracing my root and celebrating my heritage, cultural diplomacy fosters that practice of promoting your rich cultural heritage, your identity. I mean, your culture, your identity, your roots. I mean, as a Hindus, as an Indian, you have the Christian, you have the Muslim, you have the Hindus. So you practice one thing or the other that define you as an individual. You have the Dahar, you have the Goa in Indian. You have a lot of characteristics that defines you as a people. Now, as an Indian, you're not limited from getting married to another country. We're talking about cultural diplomacy. Having the ability to get married in another country is for you to understand. Hi, Amaka Mercy. It's for you to understand what you're venturing into. You should understand that the continent where you want to go marry or you want to go have an exchange from has their morals and ethics, has their connectivity to their ancestral roots, has their representation that defines them. So when you have this mobility understanding in your head, you will not have criticisms and segregations in your mind, regardless of anywhere in the world. You could actually find yourself a bride and a groom and settle. But at the cost of doing that, it is called cultural diplomacy. So having that understanding on your head is going to help you. So if you're a first timer to my channel, welcome. God bless you. I want you to subscribe to my channel, like, and comment. So moving on today. Cultural diplomacy, it is a non-political form of diplomacy that seeks to bridge cultural divides, foster mutual respect, and create positive perception, create positive perceptions of one's own culture and nation on the international stage. Key elements of cultural diplomacy, nobody wants to say their own mother soup is not sweet. Someone who's coming from Abuja, I mean, someone who's coming from India, say their meal is the best cuisines. Someone who's coming from Ghana, they say their meal is the best cuisine. Someone who's coming from Ethiopia says their meal is the best cuisines. Everybody wants foster one thing or the other or define their identity by their ancestral roots. So we as a people have what defines us that we replicate on a daily basis. In Nigeria, we have three ethnic groups that are made up of the Igbo, the Hausa, and the Yoruba. Now, in these three ethnic groups, we have our cultures and traditions that defines us as a people. So represents a custom, represents an identity. I mean, represents a moral. They are coming from somewhere. So when you see them on day-to-day activities, they represent their roots. So you, as a Hindus, an Indian, or a Muslim, regardless of your religion, it has nothing to do with religions. But we have to understand the factors that surrounds our existence. Cultural diplomacy is something we have to practically look out for. Now, number one element, when we talk about key elements of cultural diplomacy, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Amaka Mercy, welcome. Lati Okoko, good to have you here. Number one, we have cross-cultural exchange. Cross-cultural exchange talks about, involves the exchange of ideas, traditions, and experiences between nations and their people. This exchange can take the form of cultural exhibitions, art, performances, educational programs, and more. Okay, if cross-cultural exchange depicts an exchange of ideas, traditions, and experiences. That means, in this case, having country marriage is important. I mean, it can go because if you are coming from Nigeria, getting married with someone who's coming from Britain, or getting married to someone who's coming from Cameroon, or getting someone who's coming from India, you should have it at the back of your mind that you are getting involved in what we call cross-cultural exchange. It is the exchange of you having exchange of ideas, traditions, and experiences between nations and their people. Yeah. So you as a Nigerian is coming to share your experience, like, ah, in my country, we don't do this, we do that. And you, the other person, is saying this, saying that. So the more we do this, the more it takes us further to become productive and become excellently well. So right now, he said, this exchange can take the form of cultural exhibitions, art performances, educational programs, and more. Now, let's look at another key factors. Key factor number two is talking about soft power, right? It is often associated with a nation's soft power, which is the ability to influence others, influence others through attraction. Hmm? And through attraction and persuasion rather than cohesion or forced cultural diplomacy. Leverages a country's cultural assets to enhance its global influence and reputations. So, in this scenario, when we talk about soft power is associated with nations. In your country, what is the power coordinations? Right. Are they the people who speak one voice? Are they the people who are very oppressive? Are they the people who don't have a control switch? So soft power is something that controls a nation's, not just a community, a nation's, a people, an individual's preference that binds you together as an individual. So when we talk about cultural, so first of all, when I talk about celebrating my heritage, proudly wearing my culture on my sleeve. I hear some people say, I don't like to wear traditional outfits. Who told you that? Religion has actually come to dissect and reformed our ancestral roots, which is not right. Which is not right. Everybody has an identity. We have an identity. We have our customs and tradition, and it must surely be adhered to. Now, key point number three, we're talking about promoting dialogue. Dialogue is very important. A lot of people don't know how to promote dialogue. Everything is not violent. Everything is not gbas. Everything is not quarrel. Everything is not argument. Everything is not psychological abuse. So when we promote dialogue among nations as a people, it fosters peace and unity. Now let's take a look at Iran and Iraq, Palestine and Israel having their fight, right? What do you think caused the dispute that caused such scandal and revolution of war in a conflict? Because lack of dialogue was not implemented. You don't want to listen. The president of Palestine don't want to pay attention. The president of Iran don't want to pay attention. Everybody's forming ambiguous. Everybody's being egoistic. So in a state where dialogue is not adhered, there is a tendency for conflict and there is no resolution at all. So moving forward, promoting dialogue. This talks about cultural diplomacy aims to facilitate dialogue and understanding between different cultures and societies. It helps addresses stereotypes. When we talk about promoting dialogue, cultural diplomacy aims to facilitate dialogue and understanding uh between different cultures and societies. I mean, it helps to address stereotypes, biases, and misunderstanding by providing opportunities for people from different backgrounds to interact and learn from each other, just as we're discussing right now. Nobody is an island. Whenever you find yourself, whenever you're opportune to learn something from anybody, do pay attention. Stop feeling ambiguous. Stop feeling bitter. Stop feeling, do you know who I am? See, pride is a disease. Pride oftentimes is the reason why a lot of things that was not supposed to linger got lingered and caused bigger conflict because of lack of understanding, lack of productive dialogue, no conversation. Productive dialogue. You don't want to listen, you don't want to pay attention. Anybody talking to you, you're getting angry. Oh, do you know who I am? You're being so egoistic. And when you're so proud of yourself, you're so full of shit. There's a tendency you're going to make lots of mistakes. So, in this context, it's trying to tell us that fostering cultural diplomacy in promoting dialogue will help both parties. It will facilitate peace and understanding. It will help both parties from different backgrounds to learn from each other in peace. To learn from each other in peace without fight. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel. So moving on today, if you have a question to ask, please use the comment section and ask your questions, and I'm here to answer. Today, I have a lot to talk about. We'll continue from there. Let's look at number four key factors. Number four key factors talks about building relationships. Oftentimes, productive relationships that has yielded productive results are not actually by bloodlines, right? So, how do you build a relationship when you don't communicate? How do you build a productive relationship when you